Hi guys, in this video tutorial we are going to speak a little bit about the sun system here in Vray for SketchUp. The first thing that I want to point out is how control the position of the sun. The position of the sun in SketchUp is controlled through the shadows options. So this option here display the shadows or disable the shadows or enable the shadows. So right now my shadow is enabled, so you can see the shadows in the floor. But if I disable the shadow, you are not going to see the shadows of your sun. So it's very important to click this option here to see where you have your sun, and also you can control the date or the month of the year here using this bar, and also you can control the hour of the date using the other bar here. Or if you click on Windows, Shadows, you can see or control with more precision the times and the date of your sun. So right now my time is 5:29 p.m. and my date is on June 25th. Okay, and also by default in SketchUp we have enabled the sun and also the sky. I want to point out the difference between the sun and the sky. When you use text sky here in the GI color, you are using the sun. GI color produce illumination, so you are using the sun. Vivid color is only what you see in your background, so you are using the sky when you have the text sky in the Vivid color. But also you can control the sun and the sky separately with these options. Let me show you how to control that. If you click on the Vivid color on the M, and if you disable, you can see here that the test sky options are grayed out. If you disable the sun here in the test sky option, select none, though the option for the separate sky is available right now. So if you disable the sun, you can control the test sky or the appearance of the sky separately than the appearance of the sun. But if your sun is linked with your sky, if you make changes in the sun right now, these changes is automatically created in the sun system. So for example, if I change the turbidity value to 6 in this option that right now I am in the BG color, you are going to see that in your GI color, so it's your sun, the change is already there. So let me go back to default, that is 0.3, and I want to explain the turbidity, the ozone, the size, the intensity, and also the subdivision value. So let me click OK for now, and I want to make my first render. Click render to see what we have. Also, I want to point out that by this training video, I'm using the HSV exponential mode in the color mapping, because this HSV exponential do not change the color of the pixel, only change the intensity. And with these options, you can see you can see better the appearance of the sun. Right now we have a really nice sun option here. You can see this point here in my render is the sun, but we are going to make some changes right now in order to control the appearance. Let me go here in this option here in the visual frame buffer is a region render. So I'm going to click here there in the region render and make just a windows, because I want to render this portion of the scene in order to compare with that other portion. So basically the turbidity add more pollution to the air, lower value produce a bluish color or bluish sky, largest value or bigger values produce a bluish a yellowish color. Let me use 7 in this example and click OK, and you are going to see that the appearance of my sun is going to be a more yellowish color. That's mean because we add more pollution to the air. See how the appearance of the sun change and of the background change, and also the appearance of the illumination change to a little bit more yellowish color. The next change that I want to do is the ozone value. So let me make another render to go back to my first render in order to compare let me cancel this render because I want to change the turbidity back to 0.3. The other change that I want to do is just the ozone value, but first I want to go back to my previous render. Actually, I should save the previous render in the history, because we have now this edge here is like a history. If you click there, you can save a history of your previous render, so you can load the previous render before, so you don't have to change or to re-render the scene again how I did. So I apologize for that, but this is a good option to show you the history, the new Vray frame buffer history and how it works. So for now, you can click here, save in the history, and your render is going to be here in your history. If you want to load, for example, this old render, I can load the render, and if I want to call my previous render, I can select the render and click load, so you have this render back. Okay, let me make small windows here in this area, because I want to create a region render to show how the turbidity works, how the ozone works. So by default is 0.35. I want to increase the ozone to the maximum value, that is 1. Basically, the ozone controls the appearance of the illumination. Now you are going to have the same appearance of the sky, but your illumination is going to be more bluish color. Larger value produce bluish color in your illumination, and lower values produce like a yellowish color in your illumination. So I want to set to the ozone to 1. Click OK. Make this small region render here. To see how the illumination, you're going to see that basically the sky is going to be the same, but the illumination change a little bit to a yellowish, a bluish color. And I want to make this other region render there, and I want to change the ozone to the minimum value, that is 0, to see the result with the difference of 0 and 1. Again, the ozone lower value produce yellowish color, larger value produce a bluish color. So you can see here, when I take off the render, that this side of my render have a bluish color, and this side of the render have a yellowish color. But note that in my sky the appearance is the same, because the ozone only affect the illumination, not the appearance of your sky. So let me close the history here, and this is very simple. Again, turbidity, add more pollution to the air if you have a largest value, so you are going to have a yellowish color. The ozone only affect the illumination. Lower value produce yellowish color, and largest value produce bluish color. So let me go back to default. It's 0.35 is the default value, and I want to show you how the size affect the appearance of the sun and also the appearance of your shadows. I'm going to change the value to 20, and you can see here in this render the appearance of the sun is just a small point in my space, and the shadows are sharp shadows. When I increase the size of the sun, I'm increasing the appearance of my sun, so I have a very big sun, and also my shadows are more blurry. We have the same appearance with rectangular shadows. You can see, you know that if you use small rectangular lights, the shadows are sharper. If you use large rectangular lights, your shadows are going to be blurry or smooth. So this is the same process or the same techniques here with the sun. If you have a big sun, your shadows are going to be blurry. So this is pretty nice in terms of the shadow, but usually you don't want to see the big sun like that in your render. So that's why we have another options to make the sun invisible. Here, if you click the invisible, click OK. Now you are going to have the same appearance of your shadows, but your sun is gone, so you can use these options to hide the sun, for example, from the reflection. So if you have a water and you have a big sun, you're going to see the sun in the reflection of the water. But if you hide the sun, you are not going to see the sun in the water reflections, but you are going to have the shadows or the smooth shadows of your sun. So the maximum value for the shadows for the size is 200. If you have 200, you are going to have a very smooth shadows, basically like a GI shadows, and this is very nice for some effect. For example, if you don't want to have the shadows of your sun, but you want the appearance of your sky and the appearance of the sun in your wall, so you can increase the size to 200, and basically you are going to erase those shadows and have just a very nice smooth shadows in all your surface, but you are going to have the lights of your sun. This option produce noise in your floor, so maybe you have to increase the subdivision of your sun in order to erase the noise. So right now you can see how my shadows are very nice and very smooth, but I still having the appearance of the sun and the illumination of the sun. So this is a very nice effect that you can get with the sun. Also, another option is the intensity of the sun. I used to control the intensity of the sun through the physical camera, but if you have all your setting already, all your light multiplier already set up, and the only thing that you need is just reduce the sun intensity a little bit. You can reduce the intensity of the sun through the sun parameter, the intensity, like 0.2, and then you are going to have a darker sun. And for example, you have IGS light, if you have other rectangular light, you are not going to affect the intensity of those light if you reduce only the intensity of the sun through the intensity of the sun. While if you use the physical camera, then you are going to reduce all the exposure of the other lights that you have in your scene. So sometimes it's a good idea to reduce the intensity of the sun if you already have all the other lights in your scene setups. Okay guys, this is all the information that I have for you today. Hopefully you can enjoy this video and you can apply these techniques in your own works. See you next time, and bye bye.